Hey friends, Dave Paulides, Canada Missing Project. This is our executive producer, Huck. This is a special edition of Missing 411. This is going to be not your normal show, but it's going to be a follow-up on yesterday's episode. If you haven't watched the episode on Catherine Korzilius, yesterday's show, go back and watch it. Do not watch this. Watch the episode first on Catherine, and then come watch this. Like I said, I've never done this before, so one of you sent me in some information after watching the episode, and it shook me. The information I got about Catherine's family. I'm going to talk to you about this. Catherine was 6 years old, died August 7th, 1996. If you remember the story, she was walking home from picking up the mail. Her mom and her brother, Chris, were driving home, parked the car, unloaded the car. Catherine was supposed to come home. Didn't come home. And the mom said, hey, go out and find him. Told Chris, go find Catherine. He went out and couldn't find her. Came back upset. And then they went out and found her. In the story, you can watch it in the episode. But what I learned makes you really wonder about life, and I'm not kidding you. Her brother Chris, when Catherine disappeared, he was 9 years old. Chris attended Westlake High School. He went on to graduate from Texas State with a BS in criminal justice. He went on to graduate from the Law Enforcement Training Academy, the Capital One. And he started his law enforcement career for the Austin School District Police. I'm sure he thought that there was more to law enforcement than working for a school district, and he went to work for the Travis County Sheriff's Department in Austin, Texas. Now, Chris, right away, when I started to learn about this guy, I liked him a lot. Right after he got on board, he was one of several deputies honored during the annual awards ceremony for a group of deputies that responded and got into the line of fire in July 2018. He also got several other awards and commendations that a lot of deputies and police officers never get. He was special. 7 months after being hired, he got an award for being the best employee. Unbelievable. And then he was awarded the Victim Services Deputy of the Year. He normally worked night shift patrol. He had a life partner named Bethany. And in earlier, he tested and he got a transfer to the Vice unit, and that was his assignment in March 2020. Now, just so you know, yeah, I work Vice. And Vice is a prestigious position because you can investigate anybody, politicians, other deputies, at a high level, criminal. It's a special position to have. He was working Vice, undercover, got his own undercover car, etc. Now this is the part that shook my soul. Travis County, Texas. Travis County Sheriff's Office, Senior Deputy Chris Korzilius, 32, has died in a car crash. TCSO said that 6:49 a.m. on March 18th, The agency received a 911 call about a collision in the 7700 block of FM 2244. TCSO identified the driver of the vehicle that had rolled off the road as Senior Deputy Korzilius. Korzilius was assigned to the Vice Unit and was driving his unmarked vehicle, a Ford Escape, at the time of the collision. Austin Travis County EMS said that another car was also involved in the collision, and that one of the vehicles involved had flipped over onto its roof. They said that Korzilius died at the scene, and another person involved in the crash was taken to a hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Korzilius joined the sheriff's office in June 2016 and spent most of his time working night shift patrol in eastern Travis County. He was promoted to senior deputy 2 years after joining the agency and joined the Vice Unit this January. According to the sheriff's office, Korzilius was one of several honored deputies earlier this month at the agency's annual awards. TCSO said the crash is being investigated by the Texas Department of Public Safety, assisted by the TCSO Heat Highway Enforcement and Accident Team. Korzilius is the 8th TCSO deputy to be killed. Oh, but that's not it. No, that's not it. There's a website where deputies can go on and leave memorials to their friends. Chris, it was a pleasure to be with you. At the beginning of your career and serve as your field training officer for you, and I was overcome with disbelief as I knelt by your side. I'm still lost for words, trying to understand why you were taken so soon. Because of you, I will forever contemplate the duality of man. Rest easy now with Catherine. Yeah, his sister. Senior Deputy R. Marburger. The first time I met Chris, he helped me disarm a knife-wielding lady who was suffering from a mental health crisis. While she stabbed at us with 2 large knives, we were able to wrestle her down and disarm her with only minor injuries for her and ourselves. Without your courage that day, I know it wouldn't have ended so peacefully. The world was made a better place for your service. Deputy Strawn. And there were dozens of others. But that's not all, folks. That's not all. So Chris was Catherine's brother. He was there the day she died. There were just 2 kids in the Korzilius family, Chris and Catherine. Now listen to this. The mother of a sheriff's deputy killed in a car crash on the job in Austin, Texas, is speaking out after she says she learned from a friend that a progressive district attorney would not be pressing charges against the other driver in a move she called unconscionable. I was stunned. I don't know what to say. Nancy Cornelius told the News Digital about the moment in January she found out through a friend who heard it on a radio that Travis County District Attorney's Office would not impanel a grand jury after the crash that killed her son, Travis County Deputy Chris Korzilius, in March 2020 in the early hours. Korzilius says that her son was on duty at the time, was driving east on a 2-lane highway when a vehicle driving west slammed into him head-on, sending his car flying over a guardrail into a canyon. The male driver of the other vehicle was going 80 in a 65 before failing to control his vehicle, the mother said. Korzilius died in the crash from blunt force trauma, and his mother says there were several other troubling aspects about the moments following the crash, including the other driver not having toxicology tests done until that afternoon? What? And his claim that he swerved to avoid something on the road, which she said has been not corroborated. Nancy Cornelius has said she served on a grand jury before and believes there was enough evidence for the case to be heard, and she would have respected any decision the jurors made. I just couldn't believe that we weren't willing to present this case to a grand jury. I know you can agree or disagree, but it's got to get to the point before the legal system even functions properly. Amen. I'm very familiar with the process and realize it's unconscionable, maybe even unconstitutional, not to give this case a chance to be heard by a grand jury in Texas. The grand jury bills or no bills these cases, and they can move forward into the process to a jury trial. Korzilius says she urged the DA's office to reconsider during a February phone call in which she wrote down a statement to a prosecutor in the Vehicles Crime Special Prosecutions Unit. Your decision has forever broken my trust in the county DA, Korzilius wrote. I'm ashamed to say that for the rest of my life, I will have to try and understand and explain to my family and friends how this decision happened and how he received no punishment for the crime of involuntary manslaughter. Her request to reconsider was later denied by the DA's office, which told her there was not enough evidence to move forward. What? Jennifer Hackney Zemansky, the Combined Law Enforcement Association of Texas Affairs director and former Austin police officer, told Fox News Digital that video from a nearby business showed the other car's driver traveling more than 100 miles per hour and quote-unquote hauling ass around a turn. She said that at minimum the case should have been presented to a grand jury. She said, I used to work for the Austin Police Department in types of situations where there's clear reckless behavior. They would at a minimum present it to the grand jury. It's a probable cause standard, she said, adding that she can't imagine the totality of the evidence would not have been resulted in at least a negligent homicide case. I will tell you that the DA in that county has been called really a defense attorney. He doesn't like law enforcement. He doesn't appreciate law enforcement. And honestly, all of the law enforcement guys and gals that I know in that county ought to get out because they will not support you. The DA in that county is horrific. And Mrs. Korzilius, I'm with you 1,000%. 100 miles per hour in a 65, goes into the other lane and kills your son, an on-duty deputy. I'm upset. I'm really upset. But that's not why the case is here. That's not why I'm talking to you. I've got to control myself here. The Korzilius family got no justice on Catherine's case. It was never solved. How she died, where she died, makes no sense. Makes no sense. And now they lose their last child with no justice. Friends, he lost his life protecting us. Really? But my question to you really is, how much can one family take? Yeah, I feel her pain. I feel the parents' pain. I know what it's like to lose multiple people in a short period of time. Thank goodness they had Chris for a good portion of his life. But losing a daughter, then losing their son, an absolutely stellar person in the community, is just... How much can a family take? Do I think it's odd? Well, I think it's really odd, folks. You know, articles at the time said that Chris, at 9 years old, came back crying after he couldn't find Catherine. Even at a young age, he cared a lot. Loved his sister. You know, people have said that God will only give you as much as you can take. Sometimes think about that. Just because I could take a lot, just because the parents of Chris and Catherine can take a lot, does that mean that the weight of the world is going to get dumped on you by taking away your kids, your friends, your mentors? Like I said, I think it's odd. I think it's odd the way he died. I think it's odd that there wasn't a grand jury impaneled. There should have been. And I can almost guarantee to you that if that grand jury was impaneled, they would have brought back a finding of at least negligent homicide, involuntary murder, vehicular homicide. Going 100 miles an hour in a 55 mile an hour zone, 65 mile an hour, 70 mile an hour zone. And you cross the center line and you hit and kill somebody. Mr. and Mrs. Korzilius, you deserve better. Our society let you down. As Chris's FTO said, now you're with Catherine. God rest your soul. Paulides out.